This weekend, while you were watching the Masters and the basketball and everything else, a story that shocked college football. Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava is no longer Tennessee's quarterback. He's parted ways with the school, did it before the spring game on Saturday. The redshirt sophomore reportedly was looking for...
We're not going to do that at Miami. And I say that without any hesitation. You know, if anyone's thinking that, and they could be the best player in the world, if they want to play holdout, they might as well play get out. We don't want to do that. We don't want Miami to become that. Too many guys have sweated, bled, have laid it on the line on that field to ever become that kind of a program.
Okay, I have overwhelming issues with that and all the others who are saying things like that, but I'll save my comments for last. Let's hear from the group. It's been too long since we've had Heather and Paul, who always bring perspective and insight to all of these college stories. Heather, I'll start with you. What is it that the people watching this who, again, didn't follow all the news over the weekend, what is it they need to know?
Well, it starts with a failure of leadership over a decade ago. That's why college athletics is here at this point, Greeny. What has happened is that athletes every day in college football, every day, are asking their coaches for more money. It's just that nobody is talking about the freshman left tackle who's asking for $1.5 million. So when Chris Lowe reported that Iamaleava is asking for $4 million, and Josh Heupel and other staff members had no communication with Iamaleava. So at that point, Heupel said, and he told the team on Saturday morning before the spring game, no one player is bigger than this team. And Greeny, I talked to people outside of the SEC athletic leaders who were so happy that Tennessee said that and handled it the way they did to hopefully send a message to other people, because what is different about Iamaleava's situation is that he was a no-show. And unlike the NFL with contracts that are binding, this is different because these contracts are with the NIL collectives.
Paul, what is your perspective? Again, this takes place sort of on your watch, if you will, in your neck of the woods down there in the SEC. What is your take on the whole thing?
Greeny, what was so interesting Friday afternoon, listening to fans all over the SEC and in particular in Knoxville, they were done with this guy. They did not want him back, as good as he was. And by the way, he was good, not great. He helped Tennessee get to the playoffs. But they didn't want him even if he showed up on Saturday, because there is a big inflection point going on right now in college. Stomach, Greeny, every time a player tries to pull a heist like this, and that's exactly what it was. He already had an agreement to try to get more money before a scrimmage, meaning I won't play next season, right before the portal, was a slap in the face of every college football fan in this country.
RC, you played obviously at the highest levels of college football. You have a son who just finished playing college football. I just set that up so people understand where some of your background perspective on this may be. What do you make of the whole thing?
I mean, the first thing is, Paul, bump the fans. Like, the fans don't matter. They just don't. This is about those young men, and this is about those football teams. I think it goes back to what Heather said, the failure of leadership of the NCAA and former president Mark Emmert. They could have been on the right side of history, but because since Teddy Roosevelt instituted the NCAA and they've made money off of student athletes' back without ever having to give them anything but a quote-unquote free education, they didn't want to change. They didn't want to say we can put rules and regulations on NIL. We can make sure that these players have more than they have been giving, but we can also make sure that it's not the wild, wild west and that coaches don't have to deal with players that may hold out in a situation where you shouldn't hold out because the contract isn't binding. And now you got people like Mario Cristobal, who, by the way, is part and fault of this because he gave Carson Beck, who ain't the best quarterback in the country, $4 million to go to Miami. There's no reason for him to hold out because he's getting overpaid. But that's what it is when there's no cap. That's what it is when there's no rules. And I'm not mad at Josh Heupel in Tennessee for taking a stand. If you don't want that sort of player in your university, if you don't want that sort of player in your locker room, then you get rid of him. You tell him there's no place for him to come back. But it goes back to the NCAA not doing what they should have done in the beginning. And now you have players and coaches who every day have to figure out a different way to move in the NIL era because no one is guiding them. And that's the sort of things that happen when you don't do that.
Yeah, there are no rules. The only thing I will say quickly is you can miss me with all of the coaches. You're telling me that a person found themselves in a situation, and then even though they had made a long-term commitment, they saw a better opportunity out there, so they decided to take it?
Coach?
That you just described basically every coach in major college athletics, and is in my lifetime and probably far longer than that as well. People who've had contracts. I don't know what Mario Cristobal's contract situation was at Oregon when he decided to leave to go to Miami, but he certainly wouldn't have been the first one that had 7 years left on his contract but saw a better opportunity and chose to go get it somewhere else. So you can miss me with telling me the players shouldn't be allowed to do the same thing. Whether this young man handled this situation correctly or not, I don't know enough about the details of it to weigh in on that. But it strikes me that the coaches are the last people I want to hear from on that subject. Heather, final word.
There are no winners in this, Greeny, and how it impacts the future depends on how this story ends. Watch what happens in the portal with Nico Iamaleava. Does he eventually wind up getting the money that he wants? Because if he does, he might wind up looking like a hero to other players. If he doesn't, this is a cautionary tale.
Okay, again, this is what happens when you have no rules whatsoever, and then it's hard to say anyone has broken them. Okay, awesome, guys. You explain to me what's going on here. This is you and Cooper DeJean doing some drills here, and just, can you give us a little play-by-play on what we're seeing here?
Well, the problem is, Greeny, I had on Air Max, and Air Max weren't right for the turf, and I bit it a little bit, but look at the way I finished, Greeny. It's all about the team. Even when I'm not feeling great when I come in to get up, I make sure I give you the energy that you deserve, and that's what Cooper needed, the energy that he deserved. So as I slip, I finish. What am I teaching Cooper DeJean? It ain't gonna always go your way, but you can make a play for the freaking team. I think it's great, Greeny, and I don't mind that you guys always try to embarrass me here on this show.
I agree. I agree. That's no problem. Look, the man only had a pick 6 in the Super Bowl as a rookie. I can see
it's only gone well for him. Yeah.
He needs the coaching. Look at RC running drills. Okay, let's move it forward. Let's do sound off here. Interesting people saying interesting things. And this one was Orlovsky yesterday here.